we are looking at dividing monomials by monomials. This is kind of an introduction one. So in the previous video, we talked about exponents and how that works. In this video, we're just going to actually do some. So when dividing a monomial by a monomial, you divide the coefficients and subtract the exponents. Actually pretty straightforward. 15 divided by 3 is going to be 5. And G10 divided by G4, when you divide, you subtract the exponents. I'm just going to write it out just once, because I would never do that normally. And there we go. Ta-da. There is your final answer. You know what? I'm going to do this one over here, and I'll show you why that works. Again, if you watch the previous video, this is going to be boring because you understand all this. This becomes 56. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm expanding a to the 5th. A is my base. 5 is the exponent, so it tells me how to do. How many to write? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 56 divided by 8 is 7. And then that cancels to 1, that cancels to 1, that cancels to 1, that cancels to 1, and it leaves me a. Much faster, 56 divided by 8 is 7. A to the 5th divided by a to the 4, 5 minus 4 is 1. And if you want, you can put the 1 there to keep yourself happy. It's like a 1 out in front of just a variable. So like x is the same as 1x. This is an understood 1. It's there, but we don't bother writing it all the time. Okay, same thing with this little exponent there. It's there if it's just, so there's an understood 1 here on that, but it's the one that we use most of the time. So it's like, we don't really need to write it. Okay, now over here, I put a little box here to remind me how to check stuff. I love questions that you can check. Let's just go back for a minute. If you go 12 divided by 2, you get 6. Oh, wait a minute. Let's do it this way. 12 over 2. Right, remember, those mean exactly the same thing. How would you check that? You probably would go 6 times 2 and make sure it equals 12, and then 12 is equal to 12. I mean, that line's kind of a little extra. But the cool thing is, when you're doing monomial division, you can do the same thing. So we got 56 to the 5th divided by 8, a to the 4, 7, a to the 1. So over here, we took our answer and multiplied it by the number we were dividing by, and we should get the top one. So we multiply those together. 8, a to the 4th times 7a should give me 56 a to the 5th. 8 times 7 is 56. A to the 4 times a is a5. And it worked. So you can always multiply through and double check your answers. I wouldn't do all of them, but you know, it's a good practice every once in a while. All right, let's get back to work. 72 divided by 12. That's going to be 6. D to the 5th divided by d squared. You're going to go 5 minus 2. It's always on the top one. Subtract the 1 on the bottom. So 5 minus 2. Oh, don't forget your d. And F12 divided by f to the 3rd. We're going to subtract. So 12 minus 3. There. Sweet. And now I'm going to look at you and go, I have no idea what 108 divided by 6 is. 108 divided by 6. Oh, it's 18. Okay. So we got 18. Yeah, I'm going to put an h. Now I've got h to the 8th power. I don't have an exponent on here, so right now, because we're still practicing, I'm going to put a 1 there. So 8 minus 1 is 7. And K45 divided by K9 is going to give me 45 minus 9 should be 36. So this is one where I wouldn't want to have to actually write it out longhand, because that would be like 45 Ks and I don't want to do that. Suggestion, turn off the video, do at least the next 2 questions. The ones at the bottom, these interesting variations, those are kind of trick questions. Well, not trick questions, but tricky questions. So give them a shot, but we're going to put some commentary beside them so that later on, this is going to be a really great set of notes for you. Okay, so turn off the video. All right, and we're back. 36 divided by 2, it's going to be 18. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. It's the same rules that we have for multiplication. So if you have a nice pair, it becomes a positive. If it's a mismatched pair, then it's a negative. J12 divided by J5 is going to give me a J, and 12 minus 5 is 7. Remember, you just have to subtract. Okay, here we go again. I got no idea what 104 divided by 13 is. 104 divided by 13. All right, now you notice, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't bother putting my negative sign in there. I'm so old that when we had, excuse me, we didn't have abacuses, but the original calculators we had didn't necessarily have a negative button on them, so you just learned the rules. All right, so anyway, it's going to be minus 8, because like I just said, if you have, this is a plus, and that's a minus, when the signs are different, it's going to come out as a negative. So I'm going to have H's, 12 minus 2, so 12 minus 2 is going to give me 10. L, we've got 5 minus 4. I'll put in the 1, you don't need it. And then we have M7 minus 3, M4. Got a little squishy there. All right, so, oh, I wrote the rule. Well, the rules are up there already, but it's not bad. Divide coefficients. Subtract exponents. It's worth you writing it out, right? Because that's another level of active learning. I can't emphasize enough, you're not going to get a whole lot out of these videos if you just sit there and watch. Work it at best way, try it yourself beforehand, use a pencil, and then watch through and make any changes, right? If you're not sure what you're doing, do a couple, watch, check out the pattern, try some more. Try some more, try some more, try some more, but always keep going back and checking. The last thing I want you to do is do an entire page wrong and then, you know, get that pattern stuck in your head. Does that make sense? Hope so. All right, let's look at these variations here. Not sure where I was going with it. 45 divided by 9. So my coefficients, that's going to give me 5. And then x to the 3 divided by x to the 3 is going to give me x canceled. It's going to go to 1. And these y10, cancel. So your answer is just 5. So sometimes variables cancel. And you get just a number. You can also get questions where your numbers cancel out and you end up with just a variable when you're done. All right, 250 divided by 50 should be 5. Now, this is interesting. Look, there's an A4 on the top and there's nothing down there. So we'll just bring it along. And then we can do B10 divided by B7. It's going to give me a B, and 10 minus 7 is 3. So a variable only on the top. Just bring along. Don't ignore it, just bring it along. Put it on the top just where it was. All right, let's look at the next question. You know what? I'm going to challenge you. Why don't you do these last three? Don't worry about the comments, but just see how you did with these questions. So turn off the video, pause it. All right. 68 divided by 10. Ow. Can that happen? Yes. Okay. I know the answer is 6.8. If you don't trust me, get a calculator. But my point on this question is that these don't always have to divide evenly. Most of the time they do. It just makes the math easier because I'm worried about the variable part, not the coefficients. But sometimes it's a number or a decimal. That's okay. Pardon me. And then we got a D, and we got D5 divided by D3. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So don't always divide evenly. If you do an entire worksheet and every single one of your questions, if it's a worksheet for me, comes up as a decimal, you probably should double check. Like I said, probably most of the time your answers are going to be whole numbers. Oh, speaking of which, okay, this one looks really weird because I got a number on the bottom. Now, this is one where I catch students. I always put questions like this on my assignment. Just like, are you guys actually paying attention? Because the answer, I know there's going to be 8 to the 6. Because that part's straightforward. So a divided by 8, a to the 9, divided by a to the 3. It's going to give me a, and it's 8 to the 6. But the 4 is on the bottom. So an easy way to do it, remember I said those understood ones become useful? All right. Now, there's going to be about 14 different answers here. We could do 1 divided by 4. This is the lazy way. This is the I hate fraction way. Oops. Love my calculator, right? It just gives me just what I typed in there. 0.25. So you could do 0.25. Sorry, that's messy. 8 to the 6. 100%. I like it. You could also write, I'm just going to put it up here. And just leave this because this is a fraction and it is in lowest terms. You can't reduce it at all. So that's fine. You could even just do it like that and completely ignore the 1 and just leave the 4 on the bottom. What you can't do is bring the 4 up to the top. You can't get 4a to the 6. That would be wrong. Okay, so just be aware that if the number, well, what I usually say, if the number on the bottom is bigger, you're going to get some kind of 0 decimal something or other. If the number on the bottom is bigger than the one on top, or there is none on top, pay attention. You can either just, I don't care, I'm changing it to a fraction or to a decimal, or you can work it as a fraction. All of these, this one, this one, this one, all mean the same thing. They all get full marks, unless I gave you some specific instruction to said, you know, turn it into a decimal or make it a fraction. So what do I want to say here? Can add a 1 on top to make it easier. All right, and I think the last one, 81 divided by 18, I don't think that comes out even. 81 divided by 18. Oh, so 4.5 or 4.5. And then A9 divided by A5 is A to the 4. Whatever works, right? doesn't matter. Comment here is the same as that one. You know, it doesn't always divide evenly, and that's okay. So, see? Now that you've done a page of these, it's not so bad. What do you have to watch for? Well, you can have the understood coefficient out front of 1. You can have an understood exponent of 1. You know how to check stuff. And watch your signs. A negative divided by a negative is going to give you a positive, and a positive divided by a negative gives you a negative. Memorize the rules. I've heard people say if you can memorize all the words to, I don't know, whatever I was going to say, Rihanna's song, I know that's, she's probably not even popular anymore. I just dated myself a lot. Oh, heck. You can memorize the words to a Johnny Cash song. You can do this. Math is cool.